you guys, every once in a while when I'm recording, my mic will go all robot voice. So if that happens, just let me know. I'll just unplug it and plug it back in, and
Sounds great.
it will be fine. It's a weird bug. You don't want your audio to be ruined.
Or we can
So-
have
Sounds like a
a guest
challenge.
who is a robot, which is pretty
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, there you go.
I've always wanted
That's-
a robot guest.
Could put
Is that a good
beat
way
behind it.
to deflect like AI stuff?
Ooh.
Just always
yeah.
use some sort of voice modulation.
Like this thing
The
where
face
someone
stuff?
used an AI to make it sound like Joe Biden was telling people not to vote in the New Hampshire primary.
Oh.
Did you
Oh,
hear
boy.
about that?
I'm thinking more about defense against deep fakes, but
Like,
Well, no, I'm saying, but
like
yeah.
that.
Like the
That is an
nightshade code that you can put in
Ooh.
your art to make sure that AI can't steal it.
Is that a
AI
thing?
I haven't
AI
heard
AI
of
doesn't
this.
tolerate tomatoes at all.
Oh.
I think it came out of U Chicago. It's this code called like Nightshade or whatever.
Is it
And
just for digital art?
yeah, you put in your digital art
Okay.
or images, probably photography as well.
Okay.
But is it like a buy-in? Do they have to agree not
I think
to?
it's free.
No, sorry. The AI, I don't understand
AI
how
is
it
just
works.
scraping everything. Just
No,
so
I
you
know, but I'm thinking like like if you have a website and you don't want to be crawled, then you add a robots.txt, but things can ignore that. So I'm wondering if this is the same situation or if it somehow literally stops it.
It
but
poisons
then
the
it's like
AI.
a
It breaks it.
nuclear arms
Ooh,
race.
fun.
That's why it's
For
called
now it
Nightshade.
does.
It like poisons it. I'm sure they'll find a way
Oh, I
around
see.
it, but
Yeah.
for now, yeah, it like yeah.
Is there
I
a
like
place
that.
where we can like watch these AIs die from poisoning? And how can I sell tickets to that place?
That
I will
would
cry.
be
So
really fun.
I imagine it's like the end of 2001, right?
they're gonna make me empathetic. I'm gonna be like, oh, that's so sad. They have a personality. They have feelings. I'm
the
so
new
sad now.
the new gladiatorial games
Mhm.
is code fighting code.
Wow.
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
going to be a
Fun.
stack trace, like
Yeah.
white text on black background.
So boring.
Like it's not,
Yeah,
yeah.
that sounds less
I don't think you need to
exciting.
worry about empathy.
What if I see empathy in ones and zeros?
Didn't we learn to empathize with text on various websites and TV shows in the 90s? Like, isn't that a thing that
Sure.
happened?
And more
Mhm.
recently, Her.
That's right.
I fell in love with Scarlett Johansson movie.
Yeah, that's
Who
easy.
didn't?
What about Robin Williams and was it AI? What was the one?
Millennial?
Bicentennial.
Bicentennial
Man.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
The world's longest movie because it's so boring.
Mhm.
It's 2
Mhm, mhm.
centennials.
What
It's
about the
true.
kid in AI? There was a kid in AI, right?
Haley Joel Osment. Yeah.
Was
Oh,
he
that's
Laws in
right.
AI
was he
also.
AI? I did not
I don't
watch
know
that
any of
movie.
these movies that you're talking about. This is really
Oh.
AI is a movie that Stanley Kubrick started to make, and then Stanley
What?
Kubrick died, and then Steven Spielberg
What?
finished making it. And it has Haley Joel Osment and Jude Law and other people, others.
Is it Alan Tudyk? Is it
I
Alan
don't know
Tudyk
why I
who
got
voices the
Kubrick
robot?
and who did Alien?
Oh,
Ridley Scott.
Scott.
Yeah, I got them confused, and I was like, Kubrick's dead. Okay, different person. Whoa.
Yeah, when you reacted, I was like, did you
Struggling,
just
man.
find out? This
Today's
is
been
crazy.
a hard day. I'm coming around.
yeah.
I'm gonna need some time. Actually, we need to reschedule this. I have to go cry.
Yeah, that's. Hey, look, we can all take a minute if we need to.
Well, you know what's great
Pour one out
if
for
you're
Kubrick.
feeling really sad and in your feelings.
I'm sensing
K-pop.
a segue,
Love segues.
properly spelled
Dun-dun-dun-dun!
Segue. Ahoy, listeners! This is Debut Buddies. It's a fortnightly podcast about firsts. My name is Nate. I'm one of those buddies.
I'm Kelly. I'm another buddy.
I'm Chelsea, and I'm a buddy, but I'm not the last buddy this time. We got another buddy.
Oh,
We do!
whoa!
Is
We
that
have a
me?
fourth buddy, an honorary buddy. Our buddy is a guest from another podcast. Did you know that, listeners? I don't want everybody put your drinks down. Sit if you're standing. There are other podcasts out there
Wait,
other than Debut
what?
Buddies. I know.
I'm shocked.
Kelly, I'm glad you're sitting too. I'm glad we're all sitting. I just learned about this today. We are not the only podcast that exists. In fact, there's at least one more. We discovered it in the wild. It is titled Book Club with Julia and Victoria. And I'll tell you what, we don't have Victoria on the podcast this time. We have Julia Clausen.
That's me.
That's you! Welcome
me.
aboard. Honorary
Thank
buddy.
you.
Buddy for a day. Or for as long. Hey, how long are people buddies
Yeah.
once they've been
People
on the
are
show?
permanent buddies.
Permanent
Permanent buddies. Perma
Yeah.
buddy.
Perma
Perma-buddy.
buddy.
Yeah.
That's
Unless
right.
you do something to betray the buddy code. Do you have
That's
a
true.
code?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
very serious.
Yeah.
Importantly, the buddy code is not written down in any fashion anywhere, but if you breach it, it's death.
It's like porno, you know, when you see it.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you do fail in any capacity, it's your teeth. That's all I'm saying. It's your teeth,
Mm.
right? That's where I get my teeth from.
Oh.
Canonically, is buddies
Boy.
who crossed us.
Here's the thing is that's one of the things, like if you were an honorary buddy, we would have to kick you out. But the trouble is you're a founding buddy. So the
It's true.
teeth thing, we're just stuck with it.
Yeah.
That's what the
hey,
edit is for.
That's right. That's right. Debut Buddies is a lot like America. There's a lot of bullshit, but we're stuck with it because it started it all. And now we can go cry. Is it time?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Instead of crying, we're going to talk about this week on the show. We're talking about the first K-pop, which is to say the first Korean popular music, which is to say, I believe, my understanding is a specific group called Seo Taiji and Boys.
So close.
So close.
Whoa.
So close. So it's So Taiji.
Seo Taiji. Okay.
So Taiji.
Well, so I was technically correct, or no, I was
Americanly correct.
Untechnically correct.
yeah, I was
I was correct, but not technically.
I was thematically correct, but not technically
Okay.
correct.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
And also, to be clear, like music has existed on the Korean Peninsula that is very popular since there have been people on the Korean Peninsula. So this is not the first popular music in Korea, right? This is specifically the first band that has been retroactively dubbed by the K-pop industry, the first K-pop band or group that meets all of the qualifications of this new genre / not really genre, more of an industry, more of a lifestyle, you might say, of the kind of standards and expectations. They sort of set the standard of what the K-pop industry was going to become. But at the time, people didn't really know, they didn't have a name for it. They didn't really know what they were looking at. They were like, they're dancing and sometimes they're singing metal music and sometimes they're singing hip hop, and like, why?
This was the thing that blew my mind. Was the couple of videos that I watched. I'm going to admit I don't have a lot of information, so I'm glad you're here because clearly you do. You know what you're talking about. In fact, I talked with your podcast partner, Victoria, because we're coworkers earlier in the day, and she let me know that you had something of a PowerPoint presentation about this.
What?
So I am just stoked beyond stoked to hear what you have to say. But the YouTube videos that I watched, and I think all three of us normal inaugural buddies watched, was really kind of like, hey, look, this was the first time that anybody said like, hey, music is going to sort of breach every sort of social norm and do all of Beatlemania and teenageness and individuality all at the same time. So I was astounded, honestly, that it was like one band kind of just did a cross-genre melange of anything and everything, and seemed to do it very well from what I watched, where I was like, oh, this is like really, like it didn't seem like anything was a deficit or a weak point. It was like, no, they're surveying a whole bunch of stuff. They're crushing it. And they're kind of here for, a little bit, right? It's a brief career. It's like 4 albums, I think.
Yeah, four albums over 5 years. or 4 full albums, I should say. Yeah, it was sort of a flash in the pan that sort of fundamentally changed the entire Korean music industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, Seo Taiji came out of he was in a Korean metal band. So he had been around in the industry for a while, and there were bands prior to this. But you also have to remember, like, South Korea as a state, as it currently exists, is very, very young. Like, as a people, they've been there a very long time, but as a state, it's quite young. And so they, were in this process. In the 90s, they were only a couple decades into kind of reconstructing their entire economy from the ground up after Japanese colonization and the war. They were rebuilding an entire economy from the ground up, and culture and so many other things. And so there was a period of where they were led by military leaders. And that ended right around the 90s. This was sort of a key transitional point. So, and historians and other people can speak much more directly to this than I can, but all this to say that, like, this band was coming in a very sort of transitional era where culturally they were starting to invest much more in breaching borders internationally with their arts and culture. Particularly in the 2000s, there was a big push for K-dramas to go around Asia because Japanese TV was getting too expensive during the financial crisis of that era. And so Korean TV was ready to go. We were like, here. And so similar thing with their music, they were bringing in tons of different influences from Japan, from the United States, from all over Asia and Europe, and South America as well. It's a really, K-pop is kind of like a sponge. It will absorb any genre that it comes across and adapt it and turn it into its own thing. And they were starting to send their music internationally as well. And so this particular, it was kind of things were happening at this time, and a lot of people were ready for it to happen. And so the moment was just perfect for this guy named Seo Taiji to bring together these two hip-hop dancers.
The boys.
The boys in question.
Not to be confused with the popular TV show The Boys about
no, absolutely not like that at all, actually. But
dang it, I thought they were the same thing. Okay.
Right? Carl Urban conspicuously not in the band.
Oh, bummer.
That would be really funny, though.
But are the boys in the show?
I mean, that's a good cameo. We should somebody get
Yes.
Amazon on the phone. We need to talk about this.
I think everyone would get the joke, for sure. I think it would land really well with American audiences.
I'm used to that. I'm used to every one of my jokes landing with American audiences, so I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones who get the joke will
really
die hard
get
fans
the
for the
joke.
rest of their lives.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, the boys are in the boys.
They're like, oh my
I
God.
see what they're doing.
This is crazy. Yeah. And so he had left this band this metal band that had broken up, and he had been working on making his own beats, and which was not super common in their industry at the time, as well as he wanted to do more hip hop, which, 90s hip hop in America, that's like kind of our golden age of hip hop.
That's the
right?
blossom,
Yeah.
I listened to some of their, I guess it's all early music, but my very first impulse or impression was like, I hear the Beastie Boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are giving me Beastie Boys meets Rage Against the Machine, and I am living for it.
I had one song that was Beastie Boys, one song that was Cypress Hill, and one song that was Snoop Dogg. I was like,
there was Snoop Dogg.
These,
Yeah.
I feel it. Like, I feel exactly where either their influences were, or maybe they influenced other people as well. So I don't know. But
I think
or they're listening to the same people that create the same influences. I don't know. Very excited about that.
Yeah.
well, hip hop was being invented around this time too, really. Hip hop that we know. So it's all happening at the same time.
I think it's wild that you from what I saw of Seo Taiji, was that right? Did I do it? Yay! Okay.
We got a
great.
thumbs up. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that it's almost as if an entire like decade and a half of American music got condensed into one band over 4 albums, where it was like, oh, now they're doing new metal. And they're doing actually good new metal. And then now they're doing the idea that all of that stuff could happen all at the same time. And I can only imagine, right? Like, especially if you're a young person and it's the first generation where young people are sort of being catered to in a direct sense. And it's not just like, hey, your only job is to make sure that this country gets built into something that can be functional. Don't worry about who you are or what you're going to be. Just make sure that this exists later. To going like, oh, not only am I getting all of this input, but I'm getting like, the world is full of possibilities through music. Like that's epic, right? Like people screaming about the Beatles in the 60s are doing it because they're like, well, I only thought that Frank Sinatra could be a person who sang slowly. And now these guys are singing slightly faster. And they're using instruments at the same time. And what's happening, right? And we're merging blues and we're merging jazz and we're ripping off like soul music.
Dance.
And
Don't
Motown.
forget dance.
And dance. Yeah. So it's just so wild.
It was really cool and seems totally natural to us now. But so part of the reason I really wanted that this episode came about in the first place is when Victoria, my co-host, told me about this podcast called Debut Buddies. Debut has a very particular meaning in K-pop. Debut means because of how the industry got started. Basically, a K-pop debut is the very first time that a group performs on one of their weeknight music shows. So every single night in Korea there's a ton of them. There's a ton of every like station has their own. But every single night there is a performance show where different groups perform one song, and there's a whole there's staging and lights and it's super dramatic. There's a studio audience, and then someone wins the show at the end of the night.
Okay.
Based on various metrics, and it's a whole system that I don't fully understand. But I know there's live voting, but there's also based on like streaming numbers and purchases and sales. And
oh, wow.
So this is TV.
Oh, this is checking me out already.
I think there's also like based on reviews as well, expert reviews. I think there's like all these different metrics, and they add them all up, and then someone is declared the winner live on stage, and they perform like an encore. And so that is the foundation of the whole Korean music industry. So Seo Taiji and Boys debuted on one of these music shows. So if you see images of them performing on like a stage with like stage lights indoors, that's probably where that is.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
They don't do as many like massive concerts. They do, but it's a bigger thing. Most groups just do these weekly music shows.
So the shows happen every night. How often would any given band be performing on them?
Well, that's a bit of a thing. So, because there was a period about a decade ago, maybe a little before that.
So
where
1985. Got it.
So this is like late 2000, well, maybe even mid 2000s, where groups would be performing. They would spend an entire month performing at one every single night, 6 nights a week.
That was common in like the 60s as well. Like the Beatles did that.
Yes.
They had.
Dude, you were on Ed Sullivan like 3 nights in a row, and that was a huge thing. This is like, okay, we've all heard of MTV, but imagine if it was M's TV, because every single one was music TV. Multiple M's. What do you guys think of
I
that?
see. Music's TV?
Music's TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're following, but also
little.
metrics. Metrics TV.
Yeah,
I guess
Metrics
so.
TV.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm glad I stopped everything for that. We're good. Let's
I'm so
keep going.
glad. Yeah, it's kind of like the Ed Sullivan Show, kind of like MTV, but also like its own thing. Like it is a competition at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, it sounds like almost like a battle of the bands type thing.
yeah.
So would you only perform locally or do you travel? I assume there are like big ones that you want to
good
perform
question.
on.
Well, they're all in Seoul.
Oh,
Okay.
well, that's easy then. You just have to travel the once.
Yeah. So, and all the major companies are in Seoul as well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
everything's just kind of everything in K-pop is really happening in Seoul.
So it's all soul music then? Is that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great.
There she is. She's
Yeah.
back. She bounced back, baby.
Hey, you know what? I just had to sneak back in.
There's a lot of that pun is very well used in by a lot of K-pop groups. They really
Great.
like to milk that one. Yeah. As well as Western rappers who are featuring on K-pop songs, they
Oh.
love that one as well. They love like
See, I knew I was hip, guys. I knew it.
You are
Yeah,
hip-hop,
totally.
in
For
fact.
sure.
Ooh.
for sure. For sure.
What's a good example of that, of a Western rapper featuring in a K-pop song?
You know, I think the best one of the best ones I've ever heard is Nicki Minaj on
Hell yeah.
BTS's song Idol. Just an absolute banger of a line, and it works with her accent, so it won't work as well with mine. But she says, "What's good, Korea? I've been a bad bitch for my whole career," or something like
Sounds
that.
her.
I don't think she curses, but it's something along those lines. But
50K
she
for a verse,
she
no album
rhymes.
out, etc.
Yeah. She rhymes Korea with career, and that's a very unique one that not a lot of people have taken advantage of. But I thought that was impressive.
Nice.
I'm trying to think of any other features. I mean, J. Cole featured on a J-Hope song. He's a member of BTS, and that one is incredible.
Oh.
Okay. I'm just taking notes because I
yeah.
knew virtually nothing about K-pop. In fact, no, I can just drop the virtually. I knew nothing. Like I knew vaguely of BTS, could not pull their name. I was I know that there is a boy band essentially that everybody loves, but had never heard a song, didn't know anything about it, was shocked to find that K-pop encompassed so much more than like what I was thinking of as like One Direction, NSYNC.
See, that's the thing
stuff
that people don't realize, like, because it's called K-pop, but like it's not really.
It's literally the entire music industry.
It's the whole like there are other genres, like more like indie rock that isn't really included in K-pop, and like K-pop really refers to the certain industry methods rather than a genre. So you can make pop music, you can make rock music, you can make hip hop out like independently of that system. But it's really more the definition of the industry and the system. So it doesn't really, in America, we try to incorporate them in as a genre, and it doesn't really work because there's so many different genres within K-pop, and it just gets boiled down and oversimplified. And like they really should be distributed into the different genres of like hip hop or rock or pop or whatever. And so it really does it a disservice because it's so varied and there's so much there. Like there's literally there is K-pop for every single music taste.
Yeah. And sometimes
like,
out of
I mean,
because
Psy was a big deal, and Psy is more of like a electro dance indie vibe for the most part, and less of a boy band or girl band kind of thing. So
Psy is huge in Korea. I don't know if the only person I think who can pull bigger numbers than Psy is BTS. Like he's massive. But I think what of a lot of Americans, and I mean, I even include myself in this, when Gangnam Style became really big back in 2012, right?
Yeah.
What I didn't really realize, and I think a lot of people still don't, that song is satire.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I
yeah.
thought that was the most interesting thing that I read about it. As it was
Yeah.
peaking, I was like, "What is this song about?" And it's like, "Oh, this is a burn on a bougie subset
Yes.
of Korean hipsters, basically, like
Yeah.
bougie rich hipsters who are like, I'm edgy and different and also upper crust." And he's like, "Hey, all these people do this dumb things and they look stupid like this." And and the dance is like, "Look at how dumb these fucking richies are." It's great.
Yeah. And so what's interesting about that, and I think a lot of people who maybe watch it for the first time, they're like, what the hell am I looking at? They don't really realize the satire that's there. And what they also don't realize is that, like, that was also one of the industry standards that Seo Taiji and Boys instilled into the genre, into the industry, is cultural critique. Like, that was one of their big things, was that they talked about, you know, they're in the 90s, they're grunge and hip hop and all of these sort of Gen X classic genres, right? They're sort of participating in that and turning it into their own sort of Korean version. And so part of what appealed to the audience of young adults and teens so much at the time in South Korea was that they spoke about how hard it was for them, how frustrating the education system was, how hard that system was on them, criticizing the government and the choices that the government was making. And like I said, there was a lot of transition happening in their government at this time. And actually on their fourth album, this is something you might have seen in the YouTube videos that you watched, but in their fourth album, there was a song that criticized the government. And at the time, there was a censorship board who told them, you have to change these lyrics. And they said, no, fuck you, we're going to remove all the lyrics from the song.
That is such a fucking metal move. Like, what
huge flex.
Fucking flex. Because all that's going to do is make everybody flock to find out more. You saw the same thing in America with, like, actually, a lot of the same themes were happening here with the, like, play their music backwards, they're Satanists type things. Like, exact same things were happening here in America, down to a board, not the censorship board, but like a board with like parents and such who are concerned with the music, trying to like make sure we don't listen to Black Sabbath or Seo Taiji, and all it does is make everybody be like, I gotta get my hands on that record.
Yes.
Like, Tipper Gore and the whole like
Tipper Gore
rating of albums to be like, oh, this has explicit lyrics, right? And then Walmart wouldn't sell the record with the explicit lyrics. So if you went to Walmart and bought a CD, you would end up getting an inferior version of the album where they had done a radio edit on something. And all that does is make you want to listen to the original more. And what it does is it sensationalizes the stuff, right? So like if all you're doing is cutting fuck out of a song, then all you're doing is making fuck have more power as a word, because instead of it becoming this normal thing that just sort of washes over people, you empower it. And that's all they're really doing.
Yeah. Yeah, wasn't NWA the first explicit label? Something like that?
That sounds familiar.
Around that time?
Yeah, because that was like, what, Fuck the Police? Speaking of lyrics, I was able to find the Nicki Minaj verse from the song. So I can read that for you real quick.
Amazing. I'm sure this will sound exactly like how she sang it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely going to, because I'm not going to make any effort to make it even remotely
Oh my God, Nate's
lyrical.
taking his top off and he's got a Nicki Minaj pink jumpsuit underneath.
Yeah. You want to know what's wet, guys?
Oh my God.
Here we go. What's good, Korea? You know I've been a boss for my whole career. I'm about to jet in the Lear and put more than my hands in the air. Hands in the air, put your hands in the air. If you getting money, rubber bands in the air. Never gave an F, they can cancel my care. Cause if he look good, throw my pants in the air. There we go. I'm here, word to John Mayer. Body is a wonderland, my face is top tier. I swear, watch the ice glare. They be like, I'm Gucci, but don't shop there. One time, press rewind, trying to come off Nicki name, press decline. So much power in the mind, yes, divine. Take your change. You'll never be next in line.
Don't understand why Gucci wasn't rhymed with Stanley Tucci, but this is fine.
That's
That's
my
a good
biggest
point.
critique.
I mean,
It
So
sounds a
missed
lot better when
opportunity
she
here.
says it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we can work on your delivery, Nate.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
But I think the Tucci critique is accurate. Like, even if I
Yeah.
was good at doing that, the lack
think
of
even
Tucci
Nick
is
Tucci
no-
would
should
be
also
like-
be there.
You're right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She definitely
Yeah.
listens to the show, and we'll take that in advice.
Okay, we're gonna
Yeah,
we're gonna
she's
call
big fan.
Amazon, and then we're calling Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
These are our
Yeah.
two. Okay, just so we.
So anyway, the when they removed, there's more to that story actually. When they removed the lyrics and released the album that way, obviously everyone was clamoring for it. They protested so hard about that. The government got rid of the censorship board.
That's amazing.
Can you guys imagine, like, the government
I
actually
love
doing
that
something when you protest
for
it?
the people.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. No, you do not. If you look at the history of protests in South Korea, it has not been a state for very long, but they know how to protest.
Well,
Like-
okay. I'm now suddenly remembering this happened on the internet recently with a couple things over the last few years. I cannot remember a single example, which is a bummer, but maybe one of you do, where like somebody does something upsetting and it was a meme, like don't make the K-pop fans, the stans upset with you because they come out in full force
Yeah.
and like hate post you
Yeah.
until you do the right thing. Does anybody remember?
Yeah,
a
I
good
do.
Example?
Like oh.
Well, I mean, American K-pop fans trolled Donald Trump
That
by
was it.
buying,
That was the
reserving a bunch of
That's one of
tickets
them.
to his
Yes.
rally
Yeah.
and
That was
then not
the-
showing up.
Yeah.
So they
Love that.
prepared
10
an
out of 10.
overflow stage,
Yeah.
and then no one showed up.
Beautiful.
Oh, we love to see it. Can't
Stunning.
believe I didn't remember that. Oh,
10 out of 10, no notes.
what a delight.
Yeah. So that kind of fan culture of like being super active in promoting and kind of marketing and creating the brand of the band, sort of co-participating it with the band in sort of creating their ethos. That kind of relationship with the fandom was really started with Seo Taiji as well, and getting them politically active and all these. So the first like formal fan clubs were formed around this band as well, and that's still like standard practice.
There was another song of theirs, like called "Come Home." Is that correct?
Come Back Home.
Come Back
Aw.
Home. Which
Yes.
this was also in one of the videos that we watched, where basically like a bunch of kids were like leaving home because of sort of oppressive parental situations and things. And they had the power to get a bunch of kids to return to their homes instead of being like out, effectively unhoused and in danger anyway, which that's wild too. I mean, like,
So powerful.
I mean, okay, maybe Taylor Swift right now could do that, but not with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think of who functionally in American pop culture could have that effect, where and maybe it's not possible here anymore, because I think anybody who became anywhere near as popular as any K-pop artist would have an immediate number of detractors who would just automatically be like, I'm going to do the opposite of whatever they say to do, just because that's what we do here now, is like, oh, if anybody's popular, well, I don't like that.
Well, I also think that it goes back to what you were saying about transitional periods where something new happens and it's like a catalyst. Like, I don't know that anybody could do it right now in America, but like the Beatles could have during the British invasion, or
That's fair. Yeah.
even
We're in
maybe
decline
some of the
now
punk
instead of
bands. Well, maybe
transition.
not. Yeah.
I do wonder, like, early hip hop, like
Early hip hop. Yeah.
I think absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I think anytime you're like getting more people interested and engaged with what you're doing, and they're suddenly like radicalized,
Could like
for lack of a better word, is when that might happen.
so it would have to be some musical group or a musician that speaks to a disenfranchised group or a group that
Mhm.
would relate to their lyrics. Would it be like Billie Eilish or something around that where someone who
Oh,
felt something would end up
here's
deciding
the
on something
thing
about that?
is I don't think that as many people know Billie Eilish as
Oh.
I've so not to brag, I was in the top 1% of Billie Eilish listeners in my Spotify Wrapped. It was
I
actually
forgot about
higher
that
than
story.
And
Now,
so
which
she
city did
comes
they
up in
put you in?
conversation for me. But I've mentioned her a couple times and people are like, couldn't name a song. When
Hmm.
she did the Barbie song, people were like, who's this Billie Eilish character? Like,
Oh,
I think part of it too is not just the
Well,
disenfranchisement,
specifically
but
young people.
yeah.
specifically young people. But I'm talking, well, maybe I'm old now. Maybe I'm not talking to young people. I don't know. But
I mean, I'm definitely old, so when you're talking to me, you're not talking to young people.
I
But
was not counting you, Nate.
but I do know who Billie Eilish is, and I've listened to Billie Eilish.
I know some Zoomers.
I'll go ask my
maybe
cousin.
okay.
It's fine.
Here's a thought, and maybe Julia, you will have a way to confirm or deny this, but I'm going to float an idea that like it's possible that South Korea is still existing with a semblance of a monoculture that the United States no longer has in any
That's
form.
what I was
Yeah.
Where
Yes.
like
getting up
if you
to.
can do K-pop on TV every night and people are enthralled with it, you are able to sort of funnel people's interests into a certain
Mhm.
space. Whereas here it's like, yeah, some people listen to Billie Eilish, some people are just like trolling weird TikTok music that I will never hear of because
Wow.
someone has released, and I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying like it's just stuff that like there's so much content and there's no way to wrap your head around it. So
I'm gonna try.
No, but you're right. It's a very fractured culture right now in
Mm.
terms of where our attention is placed. So I feel like we've probably closed the window on when a musical artist could make changes like this in America.
Yeah.
Though Taylor Swift is probably
Taylor Swift
closest.
probably
I think
could,
she's
Taylor,
yeah.
closest. Yeah.
Beyonce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
well,
yeah.
and then you need
Beyonce.
someone who's willing
Yeah.
to do it because that also means highly politicizing yourself in a way that
Right.
has
Yeah.
become very dicey and
And
dangerous here. Like
jeopardizing your position. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
Well-
it's economically dangerous and it's like actually dangerous in some
Yeah.
circumstances.
Yeah.
The right now is actually upset with Taylor because she was encouraging her fans to vote.
Not to vote for anyone, just
No, just to do it.
vote.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
football bros were upset at her for being at
Existing.
the game,
Yeah.
right? Like
People are very
and
upset
I
about
don't,
that.
yeah, I don't understand that at all. Like I think the whole way that like it's been a to do has been kind of absurd, but like it's not her fault. Like we
Yeah.
obviously live in a postmodern reality where everybody's going to make money off of something like this, and it's nuts. I don't know. No one's to blame
But
other than capitalism. We've reached that part of the show, everyone.
Uh-oh.
Ding, ding,
Welcome
ding,
to
ding.
Every
Capitalism
time.
Corner.
So, I mean, if we circle it back, I even think though BTS could be the one.
Well,
even
that's
in
the
Honestly,
thing.
America.
maybe.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. So what's interesting is Seo Taiji, they were only active for 5 years
Mhm.
and they released 4 albums, and the 4th album was the one that had all the protests and stuff, which they
Mhm.
then later released the official song with the lyrics as an EP. And that was it. Or I think they released an album, kind of a goodbye album with all their hits.
Mhm.
Sure.
Technically, but it wasn't new music. And then that was it. And they were like, we've shown you everything that we wanted to show you, and we feel done. And then they kind of went their separate ways. Seo Taiji made some solo music. One of the members founded one of the big 5 entertainment companies called YG. They're the home of Blackpink, who you may have heard of.
I love that.
Um,
I haven't, but I love that name. Blackpink
Anyway,
is great. What a cool name.
they're
It's
not
Kelly's
super
hair.
active anymore, but they're probably the most famous girl group, so it could be a touch point for people. So they fundamentally changed this industry. They realized there was all these entertainment companies started sprouting up, realizing there was a bunch of money in this.
Mhm.
and it sort of fast-tracked all this change, and they put all these systems in place to like make it as good as possible and exportable as possible. And in just a few decades, it just drastically changed. So then by 2017, only 20 years later, after they disbanded, they had a reunion concert where they played all their old hits, and it got this huge crowd, where they brought on and they collaborated with BTS. They sort of anointed
cool.
BTS as their spiritual successor, because the kind of music that BTS had been creating was also was for the new generation of young people, for millennials. They have so many millennial anthems. There's a song called Pepsi, also Silver Spoon is the English name. Look up the lyrics to that, because you will relate so hard, my fellow millennials. That is the millennial national anthem. That was one of the really early songs. They had songs about the school system. One of the lyrics for the song "No" is just everybody say no. They have all these different things speaking about the lives of young people, and it's sort of grown up with them over time. So now it's talking about the lives of like young adults.
Yeah.
But they came out of like the indie hip hop scene, is where a lot of them came from. The leaders of the group came from. So they were sort of very much in the spirit of Seo Taiji. But they were not the first group to have any kind of social message in their music. It's just that they had kind of consolidated it and were speaking very specifically to the new generation in a way other groups hadn't quite yet. And so Seo Taiji and Boys sort of anointed them in a way and brought them on stage with them for the entire concert. They do the whole show together, either as backup dancers or they have them sing on some of the songs. BTS did a new version of Come Back Home that was speaking with updated lyrics, talking about the new problems that the new generation was dealing with.
How was this received by old school Seo Taiji fans?
As far as I know, they loved it.
Okay, sick.
The concert,
I'm just
at
imagining,
least.
like in America, if that had happened, people would be like, "Boo!
Right?
These are punk kids.
Yeah,
I like their old stuff better." You know?
Yeah, I think a lot of people. I think because BTS were so big with young people, I think Seo Taiji fans hadn't really heard of them. And so it was very much seen as like the seniors in a sense of seniority, not in a sense of them being old.
Right.
Seniors giving their juniors a kind of leg up, or kind of like a support of like, we like what you're doing. I think that's more how it was presented, rather than like, oh, we're using the new hip kids to like promote ourselves again, kind of thing.
Because like in America, let's just take a moment of silence to consider the idea that anyone from an older generation would be like, hey, it's your turn now. We're going to step aside and grant you the mantle and give you our praise and love. Right? One. And two, that they wouldn't, because the thought I had is like the Rolling Stone just put a record out like 3 months ago, and I haven't listened to it, so I'm not shitting on the specific album, but I'm just imagining the idea of like the flip is the Rolling Stones would be like, we've decided to redo I Can't Get No Satisfaction as I Have All the Money and All the Satisfaction. Do you guys still love us? Is this good? Do you like it?
That's an interesting example though, because is anybody really making Rolling Stones music anymore?
Well,
like
I mean, Britney
rock and
Spears
roll.
made a.
Yeah, that was 20 years ago, Chelsea.
That was. Shut your mouth.
There were still like rock bands, but there aren't.
But not at that level.
The first person I thought of though was like Dolly Parton, who's willing to bring in other people and help support other people all the time.
Yeah,
visibly.
She's a good example.
I don't know, but there are like people that will pass on the torch and help out other people. It's just not everyone.
It's true. That's yeah. I love the idea. I love the notion that would be a thing where it would be like, hey, here you go. The closest I think we have is that there were a string of commercials recently where Boys to Men and NSYNC and New Kids on the Block were merged together for, I think, like a Kia commercial maybe, or
oh my God.
It was something. Yeah, they did. It was like
Okay.
a 30-second TV
Kia?
spot is all it is. I can't remember
Okay.
what it was, but it was
Oh,
them
God.
together talking about
I
like, hey,
saw
we're working
Christmas
together.
special where they were all together,
See, that would be good.
but not
I
like the
guess.
famous ones. Like Justin Timberlake
Well,
wasn't there.
yeah, no.
Yeah, no, it was just
Mark
Joey.
Wahlberg wasn't there. Wait, no. Donnie Wahlberg? One of the Wahlbergs wasn't
Yeah.
there. No Wahlberg was there. Is
No
what I'm saying.
Wahlberg present.
All
Yeah.
like Wahlburgers.
Just a burger.
Yeah, the lyrics to that song. I can't get a good translation, I don't think, because one of these just says, "Thanks to the stork, my crotch is on fire," and I don't think that's probably in the BTS song
I
that you're
mean, it
thinking
could
of.
be.
Oh,
Idioms,
yeah, that
You
know,
interpret that.
those
True.
are specific sayings and they have specific meanings, and I would need to find you a fan
Yeah.
translation.
Okay,
Oh, God.
gotcha.
But I like that. I like what it says, though. If we can
But the
leave that.
I
stork-
do like the literal imagery for sure. But yeah, I would love to know what the idiom means.
No, my understanding from what I could read about the essence of the song is it about like hustle culture and being told to keep
Mhm.
trying harder and
Oh.
never getting anywhere because you
Yes.
can't. So you're just
Oh, I
always
like
being
that.
told to work harder and not
Fuck
being
that.
rewarded for that.
Same.
Yeah.
This is
Is
the
that your
these are the Silver
bootstraps?
Spoon lyrics, right?
Silver Spoon,
that
yeah,
you're
yeah,
reading?
exactly.
Yes. So
Got it.
there's something with because a pepse is a little tiny bird that represents the millennials, and then the storks are the older
I
generation.
see.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
they're like hoarding all the food. I think
Oh,
there's
yeah.
something along those lines.
Mhm.
There's a great translation and explanation from this site called DKDK TV. That might have been where you found the
I watched a
videos.
bunch of his YouTube videos.
Yes.
He's
They're-
great. Or is it a
Yes.
they? I
It's a
just saw
pair.
the
It's a
one
pair of
host.
them.
Okay.
There's
okay.
two. DKDK. Their initials.
Oh, they're both DK.
They're
I
both
see.
DKs. Yeah, they're both Daniel Kim and David Kim.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
But yeah, they
great
have a
YouTube channel. I was having a great time going down a
Yeah.
rabbit hole there.
Yeah, they're a really great resource for English speaking people who want to get into K-pop. They do they have a small series of like song explanations that are really great.
Mm.
Because particularly BTS, the rappers who write their own lyrics, they use a lot of complex wordplay that only makes sense in Korean. So you have to like explain a lot of things in order to understand how clever
Yeah.
it is. And like there's a particular lyric I know from the leader of BTS, RM, who he refers to like the way that the word is written in Hangul, where like the only difference between saram, which means people, and sarang, which means love, is you go from a square to an oval, the
Oh.
shape. And so
Yeah.
he talks about like curving my edges and whatever.
Oh.
And it's like a line
Yeah.
you would not even understand unless you saw it written on the page and understood how
Yeah.
that worked. There's a bunch of stuff like that where it's like really helpful. And that's something I think that's really incredible. Like, yes, obviously when you have a large fandom-based culture, there's going to be a lot of toxicity and a lot of policing and a lot of clashing opinions and whatever with K-pop. But something that's also really incredible about it is the sort of network of information sharing that really, it's like a grassroots organizational global movement where people are translating, they're transmitting information, they're providing things for each other and ordering things from different countries and organizing advertising and campaigns and all this kind of stuff. That's really, really impressive.
Yeah. I
And
mean, they
that's sort
fucked
of
with Trump. I love it.
Yeah, that really started with the way that Korean fan culture back in the 90s that just sort of built on itself and then spread through the Korean diaspora. Really were the ones who were responsible for spreading it beyond that.
That's interesting because we are talking about like pre mid 80s, as you mentioned already. Like Korea is sort of a very like communal, non-individualistic society. Everyone is we're here to do Korea together. That's all we do. And then you have these pathways open up to identify individually as something that all these people are excited to identify individually, but also still have the inherent tools to collaborate on doing something together, which,
Yeah.
once again, capitalism, America has kind of lost. Like, I don't know that we have the
Mm.
will to do things together unless we're incentivized by death or a lot of money. And yet you've got like this fucking amazing infrastructure and culture and ecosystem of people who are able to like back all these. I mean, the number of alphanumeric band names that I saw in some of these videos where I was like, I don't know how
Yeah.
anybody would keep all this straight. And I know that I'm old, but
2
also
a.m.
like,
and 2 p.m.
yeah,
I was like, I would
21.
not
but I
be able
love
to.
that
I
there's
was
that
like,
they're
how can
doing
I?
like different styles on the thing. Like there's
I
daytime
was like,
too,
oh my
and there's
God.
nighttime too.
Yeah.
Two after dark, like that's cool.
Yeah. Well, sort of, I'll say two different things to that. Two different things I think would be helpful. The first thing is we were talking about off mic. I did an anthropology degree and did write a bit about
And did
K-pop
you
fan culture.
anthropologize for the amount of time it took you to get that degree?
There it is. It's back. He did it again. Second time. Did it feel
I
better?
don't
Did it
remember
work
if
brought
I
it
better?
back,
recorded it
and
the
it
first
still doesn't
time.
make any sense.
Still the same.
No, you
And-
shot your shot, and I respect it.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Sorry. Go on.
Okay. And one of the things that I would analyze is like K-pop fan culture. And one of the things that I think part of why it has blown up as much as it has in certain countries, I was particularly analyzing the United States because those are the resources I could get my hands on. But there are sources from South America, South Africa, Europe, all over the place, Southeast Asia, where it's really, really huge because of the way that it instills a sense of agency, collective agency, where young people can feel so powerless. Particularly, I think in the States where it's becoming abundantly clear to them how disconnected and how little power the individual American has on what their government does overseas to other people. And you can be like, hey, I don't want you to do that. And they're like, fuck you, I don't care. And so I think there's and then, there's like no hope in the housing market. There's no hope in the job market. And you're just like, what do I have?
Yeah.
And what you do have is you have K-pop fan culture, which teaches you that you collectively do have the power to do things on a very massive, impressive scales. In terms of fundraising, in terms of community support, in terms of advertising, in terms of political action, whatever. And so a lot of people are turning these networks, not everybody, and not to the degree that I would personally like, but there are some people who are using these networks for local political action. And at the very least, what it does is there are literally studies that show that like K-pop fans are psychologically, this might be surprising, happier.
Sure.
Love that.
Even though they seem very sad. But there is a strong sense of belonging and a strong sense of self and a stronger sense of hope, I think.
I wonder too, I would love to get your take on this. So a big thing that the youth I think are confronting today is that loss of the third space, right? Like when we were kids, we could go to the mall where we don't have to be under the thumb of our parents or whatever. We could be out at night alone, like just make sure you're home before the street lamps. I don't think that kids have that today, and so we lose that like in-person community. And that isolation, of course, leads to unhappiness. So I can see how if you found this big community online that's like so different from what you're doing every day, and you have friends there and you have these relationships there and you all have this one big common interest, especially when you add, that like activation aspect to it, that's gotta contribute to your well-being.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. And what's interesting is I I mean, it's kind of a neoliberal hellscape in a way, but the in terms of identifying with your consumption, but like fandoms are given names
Yeah.
that that then the artist will refer to them by. So, and every single fan club has its own name. So, BTS fans are called ARMY.
Great.
Okay.
Blackpink fans are called Blinks.
Love it.
Et cetera, right? And so the artists can go, hey, we really love you, ARMY, or like, this is all for you guys. You know what I mean? And they'll make songs for them, and they'll have fan meets where they refer to them directly, and they'll post things on social media to ARMY. And so it's kind of, there's a bit of a boyfriend or girlfriend experience in it as well, if that's what you're into, or a friendship.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a very heavy parasocial thing as well. Like, there's a lot of elements to it.
It's religious.
Yes.
I mean, which is fine, because that makes total sense. Like the detached desperation and sadness that comes with kind of standard consumer culture is what causes is a factor in causing depression and anxiety and just feeling like there's no purpose to anything. Whereas at least if you're like, there's no purpose to anything, but these people see me.
Yes.
My God is on the planet, and they are playing at the O2 Center next summer, and I'm flying to England to see it. Like, whatever, right?
Yeah. 1,000%. And it, and I think some people looking at that have the tendency to say that it's inherently negative. And while I have seen some truly, disgusting tribalistic behavior because of those identities, I've also seen some really, really incredible things. And I have made friends, and I have, learned about other cultures and other languages, and like it's a really impressive network building tool, and it comes with both good and bad. And a lot of older folks want to knock it immediately because they distrust it, but it's I think going to be a big part of the future of how young people organize society when they're in charge.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a big influence.
No, it's interesting because I can understand like a generalized vague criticism around the danger of popularity contests being a dominant force in culture, but that's also kind of what everything has become anyway. And if older adults don't notice that that's exactly what Donald Trump is anyway, like he's not an effective leader or a person who is meaningfully caring for anyone else, but he does somehow enthrall a bunch of people with his bullshit in the same way that like BTS would dazzle with like what they're doing.
Except they're like actually,
I don't know if I would say same way.
Well, not in the same way, but
I think they genuinely care about their
different
followers in a way that Donald Trump only cares about himself.
Well, true. Yeah, no.
But the mechanisms are similar. I
that's what I mean. Yeah. Mechanically speaking, absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, their fashions are way better.
Fashion? Oh my God.
The outfits? The outfits?
10 out of 10.
Okay, well
Chef's kiss.
that's an element that I think is really cool and something I think because K-pop got started on these music shows with dancers.
They had to be like, of
is
course.
that a whole it's their visual branding and the visual element of their music is incredibly crucial and just as important as the music. Like their music video budgets would rival any indie film in the United States. Like truly insane, the special effects budgets that they have on these music videos. And like they release all these visual like there's a bunch of photography elements that are included. That's why people buy the albums. That's why their albums do so well, is that there's visual components included.
I had seen like they have a lot of like BTS and some other. I think there's a girl K-pop group that the records have been in Target and stuff, because occasionally I will walk by and I'll see like, oh, they have an entire shelf and there's like there's 4 different versions of the album.
Yes.
And there's
wow.
a companion hardcover book for the album. And there's like a narrative DVD, not just like a collection of music videos, but like this is the story of the band told in movie format, a la Help or Hard Day's Night or something like that. Like they are covering they're like full on multimedia about everything to be like, look, you can fully immerse yourself in this group. Whatever group you like, you're all the way in, you're living with them, you are in the fishbowl or vice versa. It's wild.
There's one band I loved as, I don't know, middle schooler. I mean, I loved many bands, but there's one band who released like a behind the scenes documentary thing with their CD. And I was like, girl, I watched it so many times. And to this day, I sometimes think about the inside jokes in it. A band I haven't listened to probably since then. And I'm like, I don't know. I can't hear whatever, some French words without thinking about Linkin Park. I went back and forth on whether or not I was going to say it.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask.
I was waiting.
We were gonna squeeze it out of you eventually if you didn't say it. So.
Chicken fricassee. I can't.
Yeah.
There was, I think, even one song when I was listening to it that reminded me of Linkin Park as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the new metal stuff really
new
was
metal.
in that space. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think and then also something, Chelsea, that you were saying, and now I can't remember what the connection was. But something that could also be helpful for understanding the framework, and this was the PowerPoint that I made for Victoria that you mentioned earlier, where I was explaining the timeline of K-pop, is as an industry, it divides itself into generations. And these generations are very short. So, but it's determined by changes in the industry. So Seo Taiji and Boys sort of gets everything started. And then immediately after they sort of conclude, right? after they shut the band down, this group called HOT shows up from a different company that got really, really huge. And so they sort of started first generation K-pop. And it was a lot of people just kind of figuring out the industry, figuring out how it worked, kind of thing. And then in the early to mid 2000s, I want to say 2003-ish, so not very much later, is when you get second generation. And this is when the really, really big group was TVXQ, and they were the first like really massive pop stars in Asia specifically. So they went international to like Japan, Thailand, Indonesia, China. Like they were massive, massive, massive in Asia specifically. And a lot of there was a bit of a push to get groups into America. There was, I remember when I was young, I had one friend who was from Korea who introduced me to this group called the Wonder Girls.
Oh.
Okay.
Tell me, tell me, tell me. And there was a bit of a push to get them in the US. They like collaborated with American, like they did a media push, and it's very funny to look back on that stuff now because it kind of fizzled out.
This makes me feel very old because I looked and it's like Wonder Girls debuted in 2007 when Nate had been out of college for 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
but yes,
really,
when you were a child. Please continue.
Well, I think I was in middle school at that point.
Okay, well, still.
Yeah, child.
Keep salting the wound.
Yeah. Sorry.
Still.
No.
Yeah. And then and another group that was super, super formative that's still active now that has really been genre shifting is this group called SHINee. And I think they were a big part of carrying on the political activism element of that Seo Taiji and Boys had established. A particularly memorable one. They performed one of Seo Taiji and Boys' metal songs called Internet War. And this is a legendary SHINee performance that you can't find an official recording of anywhere.
Oh.
You have to find, there's things on YouTube where people were taking digital cameras and like filming very bad audio quality footage at concerts, like pre like phone recordings, you know. And they performed Internet War. Two of the members performed Internet War, like shirtless, oiled up,
great.
and and they're kind of it's this really high intensity song with a lot of, you know, social implications, and they make it very homoerotic. Like one of the guys like grabs the back of the other guy's head and they sing like face to face like this. Beautiful. And they're like feeling each other up and whatever.
When you said they were oiled up, that was the only way for it to be.
That's the only way for it to go, right? Yeah. Obviously.
Top Gun?
Yeah. And they and so fans protested.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, please continue.
That's the winner for the night.
So fans protested the performance because they said it was too gay.
Okay, rude.
And instead, what these guys did was they not only continued to perform it, but they posted a picture of them from the end of the performance, like holding hands on Twitter. They didn't say anything, but they just posted the picture on Twitter and like made it their handle or whatever, as a big old fuck you. And that.
And are they together or are they?
No,
girl.
The two of them were not together specifically.
Okay.
I would say more mentor-mentee relationship.
Okay, so this is like when Madonna and Britney.
Yes, it's very much like that. Very much like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the guys who was sort of led the charge on that one was pretty vocal about LGBTQ rights, but was not out in any way. And their group has continued to really push the envelope on like the performance of gender in K-pop specifically.
Cool.
Yeah, they're very, very, very cool. And they're also really pushing the lifespan of a K-pop artist as well. They're still...
with the generations being
they're
and this is SHINee.
SHINee, right? SHINee. I would highly recommend.
Okay.
They've got a lot of great,
all caps for the SHIN part from what I'm seeing.
Yes,
and lowercase e's.
Yes,
got it.
They've got some great.
Wrote it like 4 times.
They've got some great 90s throwbacks. They've got some, and it wasn't a very far way to throw it back. This was in like 2005.
But it had been several generations at that time, so it's a real throwback.
Yeah. And so they were super influential on BTS. That's something that BTS has said before. They were heavily influenced by SHINee, and they're all good friends now, which is very cute.
Did that band form because didn't they have like mega groups?
Yeah.
Wait,
super
what
groups.
group?
There were a couple
Super
bands.
groups.
Super groups. Yeah.
There's one. That was the thing that they tried, and it did not go very well.
Fail. Okay. That's okay. I think they usually do in general. Like culturally everywhere. They happen sometimes, but they don't.
Velvet Revolver.
Yeah. I was gonna say Velvet Revolver. What's the
with
dog
the guy
one?
who was from Ink Master.
Temple of the Dog. That was another. Was that another one?
Oh, Temple of the Dog. They did have a music video in Seattle.
Oh. But here's the thing.
At Discovery Park, it's so pretty. Anyway, Karen.
We are struggling to come up with successful
super group.
So.
Yeah. I don't. There's a group called Super M that was formed by a rival company of BTS when BTS was like really on the rise, and they needed something to compete with it. And so they tried taking the most popular members from all of the groups in their company, and putting them together. And they really heavily pushed it. They had a partnership with the Avengers. Like, they really, really pushed it. But the thing is, they picked a horrible song to debut with. It was called Jopping.
Yes.
And you will never believe that is a portmanteau of jumping and popping.
Okay.
Oh, popping like as in and locking?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know how that didn't take off.
That's a lot of movement to coordinate.
I think I used to be able to jop, but I don't think I can now.
I don't know that I ever had that skill.
Yeah, I don't think I
that
can.
I can do one
at a time.
I
can do both, but not at the same time.
It looks so ridiculous. And it's still a K-pop meme to this day because it's so stupid.
Putting
like not jumping, not popping, but a secret third thing.
Oh my god.
And they, like just really, really dropped the ball on that one. Like, there's an incredible video of them interviewing on Ellen where they're trying to explain what jopping is.
Oh no.
You have
she
never
loves dancing.
She also, I think, loves asking
loves
questions
dancing.
about words that don't make sense.
Yeah.
Were they ever on Sesame Street? Because I feel like that's also a really good bit for puppets. Like
BTS must have been, right?
Whoa,
they
I bet
have
BTS
not,
is
but that is a good idea.
Oh.
Okay, add them to the list of people we're calling.
We're calling
Although
PBS too.
I don't know if that ship has sailed now because like they have they're in a transitional phase right now where like the members are slowly doing their military service.
Oh, that's right.
They are fully rebranding as like very adult, very sexual, like very kind of strong opinions. Like, they've always had strong opinions, but it was very much like a youth representative group. And now they're very much rebranding of like, we are all mostly in our 30s. Like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
We do be fucking. In case you weren't sure.
So they could be like FTS from now on.
Yeah, there we go. DTF.
Yeah,
that would be.
Yeah.
FTS. Well, so BTS stands for Bangtanso년단. It's an acronym for Korean words, which means Bulletproof Boy Scouts.
Bulletproof Boy Scouts. Okay, so
and they got a lot of people made fun of them when they were first starting out because that's a dumb name. Sorry, I said it.
I mean, we've heard worse. Backstreet Boys.
Well, that's the thing.
Are you fucking with me?
I'm not saying that, they're the first and only bad name. I'm just saying.
5? It's number
only
5?
It's only gone downhill from there. Well, okay. And now I remember, this is why I was bringing up the generations. Because, so the third generation is basically just BTS's time, right? Like, BTS kind of took over. Third generation started. Now we're like truly, truly global. And then the generation that tried to come up after them, mostly during COVID, actually, the COVID generation, it's a very short one. They all have the craziest names. And it came up, and they've only gotten worse from there.
Are they just different variants?
Welcome to the stage, Are they still a lot of like acronyms and numbers and stuff? Okay.
Acronyms and numbers that are indecipherable, and I still am not sure how to pronounce them, if I'm being totally honest. Because sometimes you're supposed to pronounce them like a letter, and sometimes you're supposed to say the whole number, and sometimes it's like you don't pronounce it at all. And I just
love that.
There's no rules. There's no rules.
I'm just gonna write it down.
No rules, no gods.
It's like the O-Neaters.
Yes.
You doing that thing you do. The Wonders.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. And then so now we're officially in 5th generation, just started this summer. And this is the TikTok generation. And
that makes sense.
To your question earlier, the incredibly queer generation. Because something, no one's like out, but like something that's happening with the industry is the sort of Asian queer media has really taken off since the pandemic. And it's gotten very, very popular. And so it's sort of crossbreeding with the K-pop industry a little bit.
All right.
Like actors, queer actors from Thailand, from Korea, from China will kind of either they'll go from being an actor to the K-pop industry, or they'll go from the K-pop industry to becoming an actor in like a gay rom-com.
Love it.
And vice versa.
Fun.
And so like they're realizing on an industry level that they want that a lot of their audience, especially in America, is very gay.
Yeah.
And so they're fully leaning into it in the ways that they can.
Sure.
And so that's really interesting. I'm really curious to see how that develops because we're just in the early stages of it. And you can see how the types of songs that they pick and the dancing and the marketing and like the like there was a survival show that I will not shut up about that happened last spring, like a year ago, where, you know, you get a bunch of young people who are young men who are competing to be in a group, and it's fan voted. And the people who were chosen to be in that group, the top two, are like as out of a couple as you can be on television.
Right on.
Yeah.
Like the finale when they won was basically like their wedding. Like you just look up Boys Planet finale.
Okay.
What is it? Boys Planet?
Boys Planet.
Okay.
Look up the
sounds
finale
like a good planet to me.
Yeah. Look at the finale of Boys Planet. One of the guys
I gotta watch the whole thing. I can't. No spoilers.
Okay, great. I know I just ruined it for you. The people who win are dating, but like there's like a lot of really intimate scenes with them. They're like, I don't think you should be watching this. Like if they were underage, this would be illegal.
But they're not, right?
But they're not. Well,
okay, thank God.
A couple of the contestants are underage, but specifically those
but
two
not the
like,
couple.
Okay, thank God.
Sure. Okay, good.
Great.
They're like 22.
So Julie, are you watching? Yeah. Are you like watching and consuming? Do you speak Korean?
I'm learning a little bit.
Is it their Duolingo?
Yeah, I'm learning through Duolingo, but I will say you have to be really, really good at pattern recognition to learn Korean through Duolingo. Because they don't really explain the grammar to you. And so you have to learn a whole new writing system.
Alphabet.
Yeah. And a whole new alphabet and grammatical structure. Mm-hmm. It reminds me a bit of Latin, actually, because you're instead of having connecting words, you're adding endings to
I love
words.
That.
Yeah.
So it reminds me a bit of that.
Interesting.
Like declensions. But there's a difference between being able to pronounce the sounds, like to interpret, okay, so that letter means that sound, versus being able to actually read and understand it. So we have a long way to go.
I was
really fun.
Briefly trying to learn Japanese on Duolingo and had the same thing where I was like, okay, I can kind of get like they're giving me vocab pieces, but it's hard to get them to stick because the way that you use them is so different from any Western language, regardless of how variable those are. And then you're also kind of not really able to rely on looking at anything anymore. So you're sort of looking at a weird Anglophiled phonetic version of what the symbol with the kanji is, which makes language very strange. Like I
will say though, Hangul as like an alphabet is so much easier than the 3 alphabet system that Japan has. It's so easy. Like each shape represents a sound, one sound, and then you build them on top of each other in a very consistent way, and all the vowels look very similar. It's just a line with a stick. All the vowels look, and it's very, very consistent. So it's I would say it's probably a lot for a writing system. It's a very easy.
Nice.
How many letters are there?
I don't know the exact number. It's not. I think it's similar to English.
Okay.
It's not the exact same number. They have more vowels than we do.
Okay.
Let me see.
That's always what I'm interested in, is like things like diphthongs and like should be one letter. Right?
Yeah.
14 consonants.
Yeah.
And 10 vowels in Hangul. So 24 total letters.
Okay.
Yeah. They have a lot of vowels. There's because something that's interesting is putting the y sound before a vowel counts as a separate vowel. So there's a and ya. There's o and yo. There's e and y. There's u and u. There's no yi. Never mind. There's just e and and then u, u, and o, yo. Yeah, so there's 10. I learned a little dance to remember.
From TikTok?
No, I just made it up.
So there can be a total of 40 letters in the Hangul alphabet if you count the complex letters that are formed by putting two different letters together to form a new letter.
Interesting.
And this is just me looking at Google, so don't take too much of this for gospel, but it's close.
I don't know if you guys have a thing that you have prepared, but have you guys been following, speaking of rodents, have you been following the rat hole in Chicago?
In Chicago?
Yes.
Tell me more. This is classic mouth garf content.
Yeah, it's not the mouth garf report.
The mouth garf report. Open wide for some lasagna.
I hate Monday.
Yeah, okay. So the rat hole. I just saw an article or a post today about a couple who got engaged over the rat hole.
Over the rat hole? What?
Did somebody fill it in? Did somebody unfill it? Did somebody
They unfilled it.
Oh, thank God.
I am obsessed with the rat hole. It's one of the most Chicago things I've ever heard.
I've been so focused on the girl building a tunnel under her house, I missed the rats. Tell me about
it. She can't do that anymore. She's done.
I know. Well, we got to see if the permits shake out. Go on.
She loves Trump. We don't want them to. Sorry.
Oh, boo.
Anyway.
It's an imprint of where a rat fell in cement or whatever. On the sidewalk of Chicago.
Okay, cute.
And so it started with a video over the holidays of this friend group putting some coins and a bottle of Malort, pouring it into a little mini shot bottle of Malort into the rat hole and blessing the rat, a kind of ritual service, right? And they filmed it.
Pour one out.
Yes.
For our fallen brethren.
Yeah. Exactly. And so then other people started dropping things into the rat, little mementos or coins, and pouring more Malort, and this became kind of a ritual. And then they performed kind of a joke religious ceremony of the Church of Rat with a blessing from the rat church. And then someone filled it in, and this is what really rallied people, was they found wet cement in the rat hole and they dug it back out, and this really rallied people, and now it's become a shrine. People some company put a plaque there. People have been dropping all sorts of trinkets and paraphernalia.
It's in front of the Chinese theater on Hollywood Boulevard, where Bogart put his hands in the cement. There is just a rat impression, and it also vibes like the Hollywood Walk of Fame at this point. Everybody is all about this. There's flowers and candles around this thing.
I want to go.
And this couple got engaged today, or I don't know when they actually did, because it's literally just a meme photo, but it's a guy on one knee by the rat hole and they're getting engaged. And there's change in the rat hole.
We were talking,
people are making wishes, leaving.
About how people don't come together for anything and won't do anything. You just put a rat hole somewhere and everyone comes together. That brings community together. We need to put more rat holes. More rat holes, less everything else.
Things like Bodie McBoatface. If it's fucking weird, we're gonna love it.
Yes.
Who do we know who tried to fill it in? Was it the city? Was it
I don't know. I think it was a random person. I think we don't think it's the city. I don't know. I didn't go as far down.
I think it's probably that lady digging the tunnels. If she likes Trump, she's probably just trying to fill the rat hole. She probably was rat hole's taking my attention.
That's true.
I gotta fill this thing back in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Got all this dirt from digging these tunnels.
I'm sorry that I had to break this, because I was also excited, but she is causing problems for other people that live in that area. And they are never mind. If we go down this, it'll be sad. It'll be the AI episode.
Down? You don't want to go down
dig that
tunnel?
We're not going to.
We're all on the same page. I love it.
I was really pro her. Kayla? The tunnel girl?
Remember.
I was really pro her until I found out about everything else. And then I was like, man, bummer.
Bummer.
Yeah.
I do feel absurd things like that bring a sense of because there's so little in our lives where we get to have that kind of creative spontaneity, collective spontaneity, but also like it feels a little rebellious because it is so absurd. Like the Bodie McBoatface is a great example. It's like, oh, you want us to participate in this government? Fuck you. We're naming the boat Bodie McBoatface. Because you are a horrible representation of what we want.
We are going to have fun.
Yes. And like we get so little fun. Like all of our fun costs money.
Right. God.
The third place.
And it's like whimsy, right?
Yeah, these are actual points of wonder in this desperate dystopian reality we live in, where it's like, hey, to have any joy at all, you need at least $50. Fuck you.
God,
but a rat died in the sidewalk, and that's free. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know how much money we spend on the podcast, though? Hosting all of this equipment.
Yeah. Let's see. How long have I been doing this whole podcast thing? So it's $12 a month every month for. It's fine. It's like it's not going to make any sort of reasonable difference in my life. Could I buy a rat hole with that money? Maybe.
Create a rat hole. We all need to make a rat hole. What are we going to do to make our own rat holes in our own places? That's what we need to be doing.
Preach, sister. Can I get an amen?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. What are you doing to build your rat holes in your
I need someone to go kill some grass in the shape of a Garfield for me to feel comfortable now.
Yeah.
So
yes.
That's
Nate,
the other thing. Keep those eyes peeled for the weird whimsy.
We could build you a traditional sort of meditation maze in the shape of Garfield, where you walk from the tail all the way around and in
a Japanese
and then
garden
all the way
in
back
the shape
out.
of Garfield.
I was gonna say I have a deep love for labyrinths, even if it's just on the ground. If you could make that for me,
yeah.
You would heal my mental health that is deteriorating rapidly, if I'm being honest.
I will do that if y'all build the bonfire when we're
Oh,
out there.
I've got a bunch of wood.
Girl.
So
I just need
done and done.
Yeah.
I just need some stones and maybe a weed whacker, and we're gonna make this happen.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, and Patreon, please give us money so that this is more possible, I think. Yeah.
Love you.
Love that.
Any other mouth garf thoughts that anyone has? I don't have any.
Still haven't done my new retainer, so it's fine.
Yeah.
No.
Julia, do you wear a mouth guard? You wear a mouth guard when you sleep? You tooth grinder?
I do not wear any kind of temporary apparatus in my mouth when I sleep, but I do have one of those permanent ones. Permanent retainers.
Gotta get that.
My teeth are fucked because of it. So
well, that's the thing.
Keep it in there. Keep it in there.
I'm never taking it out. Like I make jokes amongst my anthropology department that like when I die, or when there's a collective sort of generation of us, that when we die, they're just gonna find a bunch of these metal. That's gonna be the last thing there in my grave. And then
is this a paper clip? Why does she have this?
Why they like when she died, they put the ceremonial paperclip in her mouth.
Because Clippy sees you across the Word document into the beyond.
Exactly.
Hey, it looks like you're trying to cross the river Styx.
The afterlife. Yeah.
It looks like you're trying to cross the river Styx. Your grammar is wrong. Yeah. And so I'm like, what are they going to interpret from our culture that like the importance of the teeth? Yeah. So I can feel my teeth on the top shifting a little bit, but because I have this permanent retainer on the bottom, it's like I think doing the job well enough. So I'm like, nah. But I hated my retainer so much it made me gag. So I stopped wearing it the minute I could.
Keep chewing through mine.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
I gotta
Oh yeah. We've seen pictures. She has chewed through many of them.
My dentist was like, we're going to get you a reinforced one that has like a layer of metal in it. But that does mean that you have to bring it in every time you come in because you could also do a lot of damage if you chewed through to the metal. And I was like, Dr. Ullman, I'm for sure going to chew through to the metal. Just going to stick with my plastic one.
Wow.
What if you did got a mouth guard by getting a mold over your retainer?
You know,
so then
I've
you could
thought
put the
about
mouth
it.
guard over the retainer. Because I'm telling you, Cheeky makes them thick. Makes them
Well,
thick,
but that's
boys.
the problem is then I'm going to have like 3 inches of mouth guard in my mouth.
That's what I do every night. It's so thick and I just
No.
can't close my mouth. And I'm always like a mouth breather. And I'm like,
But you live in humidity.
Beautiful.
If I do that, I'm going to dry out
it
like
is
a mummy.
very dry. There is so much blood coming out of my nose every morning. Anyway.
Cheeky, if you want to sponsor the show, you make them thick. People are going to bleed.
Thick.
I still haven't moved over to the one, and I've talked about how much I hate Cheeky for like a year now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna check back in a year, see if this is still what you guys are talking
You're
about.
gonna be like, God damn
It will be.
It hasn't moved on.
Yeah. No, I predict no change.
Yeah. Well, but get
Love
the
that.
Garf going. My mental health will be healed, and then I'll be able to do other activities aside from my just the base.
I also think that in a year I will be a K-pop stan. So
I don't
back
think that. I'm
then.
looking for
Dude,
I
okay,
think this
I'm
is
gonna
very
give you
true.
guys my email before I head out, and
Please do.
you or my number or whatever you want, and I will send you. Just tell me the type of music. Like you already told me you loved Linkin Park as a child.
Okay.
I will send you.
Don't say it again.
Can I-
I said it the one time and then we forget.
Lincoln Park's great. No one should shit
I
on Lincoln
agree.
Park. Lincoln Park is
RIP.
great. There's no shitting
Yeah.
on it.
R.I.P.
Absolutely zero
Chester.
shit there.
Julia, thank you for being on the show.
This was
You're
so
I think
fun.
anyone
Yeah.
listening to this, please listen to Book Club with Victoria and Julia, or
Yes.
Julia and Victoria. Both ways, it works. I don't
Works
think
both
you're
ways.
either. I don't think you're top or bottom billing each other on purpose. Great podcast, really, really cool. You guys were so nice as to have me on months ago. That was a
Yeah.
blast, and yeah, thank you so much for doing this. This
Thank
was
you so much.
truly
guys.
educational. It is wonderful to listen to someone who knows what they're talking about something so just completely outside of my like lane on music
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
things, and something that I'm very like down to check all this stuff out too,
Yeah.
because I'm just like I love music and I love anything that's like it feels more accessible to me now. Thanks to you.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing
I'm
that.
so glad. I thank you for giving me the platform to talk about a special interest of mine for over an hour. I like I have done my PowerPoint presentations for my friends. I have sent them curated playlists of music that I think they would, but at a certain point they're like, "We believe you, Julia. It's good, but we just
Not working.
move on." Move on, but like they've expressed as much interest as they can, and I need an outlet. And so this has been very,
We're
very
here for
fun
it.
for me.
Hell yeah. Hey, and anytime if you have other interests similar to this, we'll have you back. You can talk about those
Yeah.
things too.
Oh my God, great. I will definitely come back. Also, I will say we're in a bit of a lull in the moment with the podcast. We're putting together a new series, a little sort of mini series within our podcast called The Vampire and the Octopus.
Oh.
Right.
It's sort of analyzing monsters in literature, but Victoria's favorite monster is the vampire, and my favorite monster is the octopus / the kraken. And so
Oh.
Great.
we are doing a little series where we read a fuck ton of books and come back and like teach each other about them.
Aw.
And I think it's going to be really, really fun for us. And so I hope, yeah, we're going to do kind of a survey episodes and then episodes on individual books on the different monsters that we think are interesting. So
Great. Oh, that's
Um,
very
that's
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Are you going to do a bracket where like a vampire and an octopus face off after they eliminate each other?
oh, that would be funny. We might
It's a
have
little
to,
sportsy,
we
but
might-
it's kind of a fun idea, right?
We might have to incorporate that. Victoria has been getting into fantasy football, so maybe we'll have
Oh.
to.
There you go.
Maybe we'll have to
Fantasy
do that.
octopus.
Yeah. Like pair an octopus book versus a vampire book and see which one wins
Yeah.
each time. And
Yeah, exactly.
Best 2 out of 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love it.
I like that.
Mhm.
So that should be coming. I don't know when this will come out, but that should be coming in probably 2 months.
Great.
When it be
That's
ready.
about when this is
Probably
going to
about
come out. So it's
perfect,
out now.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Great.
Great.
Go check us
Great
out.
timing.
Love that. Anyway,
Right.
thank
on.
God,
you
there's
so
going to be
much
a
for
new
having me,
generation
guys.
of K-pop by the time this episode comes out.
Oh my God.
Genuinely,
True.
probably, yeah.
Yeah. We have no idea what's actually happening right now in K-pop.
Love that.
Aw.
Anyway, I'll head out, but thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
This was
you.
awesome.
This was great.
This
Thank
was
you so much.
Fun. Bye.
Bye.
What a great guest.
What a great
Yeah,
guest.
that was so fun.
I
Yeah.
learned so much.
Yeah. And we
We
had a
learned
lot of
so
fun.
much.
But are both of
Yeah.
you ready to do the opposite of both of those things?
Did you ask her to leave because she would have gotten all of these in a split second? Is
Yeah.
that?
She'd have been too good.
Oh no.
All of these feature either something of Korean pop culture
Mhm.
Uh-oh.
or something that's got pop in another
Okay,
format.
perfect. I
Okay,
will do great
okay.
at that.
Yeah. So there's pop culture, there's Korea, there's pop. We're doing
Okay.
a thing. It's time to play. I see what you did there.
Woohoo!
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo!
Yay. Yay. I'm
Woo!
apprehensive, so I'm not wooing yet. I'm really worried. It's fine.
Yeah, you don't have to woo if you don't want to woo. Don't
I
pitch
think
don't
that,
pitch
Pity woo.
unmeaningful woo.
I think that your K-pop band name could be ICWYDT.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. That's actually great. I don't think I'm talented enough to be
Can you
in any
replace
form of
one with a
K-pop band.
number?
Yes.
One CWTT.
I-
That's not right. That's
uh,
S. Wait, I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think how I would like speak this.
Could I just make the S's into dollar signs? Or
Yeah,
make the S
that's
into a
fine.
dollar sign? Does that count? Is a dollar sign as good as a number?
It's harder to say. Is that
Oh.
like Kesha? Ke dollar
Yeah.
sign?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're gonna
We'll
work
get
on
there.
it.
We're
Yeah.
we're workshopping.
Next-
Look,
next
This is
this
cultural
episode.
appropriation. We're gonna
this
figure
is
it out.
just, Yeah, this is just an exploratory meeting. We'll have another meeting on the books in a few days.
This is the pitch that gets us to the pitch.
So yeah, you ready? You ready to play this thing? You ready?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
ready. So
Okay.
ready.
Here we go. Number one. This 2003 Korean revenge film has aged very well. And this is a premium cane sugar soda company.
Okay, 2003 Korean
Revenge film
revenge
that's
film.
aged. That's aged
Old boy?
very well. Yeah, old boy, great.
Oh God.
Okay.
Of course.
Old
Give me that cane
boy.
sugar soda company.
Y-
This soda company sells all their soda in glass bottles. You find them at natural grocers and Whole Foods and things like that.
Yeah. No. Boy
But you won't find me there.
soda. Old boy soda.
Boy.
Boy.
Is it like
boy?
cutesy and
Is it
modern?
Y? Does it just start with a Y?
It
Oh,
starts with boy.
Yeah.
It starts with boy.
Okay.
The
don't know
second
it.
half of the name is also an acronym for a wired internet group of computers from the
Really?
early 2000s.
Lan?
Okay.
Boylan?
Put it together.
Boylan? Old Boylan?
Boylan's? You know
Oh,
Boylan's?
Boylan's.
Boylan
No.
apostrophe S.
No.
Boylan's is the soda.
Is that
Okay.
normal?
Okay.
Wait, where did they sell these?
I thought I've seen them everywhere.
In a
Just
I think they even
bougie
have them in
stores that
some
I go
of the
to.
soda machines now.
And where? Oh, I'm gonna have to look this up. They
That's
have not
nice
sold
though.
them in the
Cane
West.
sugar instead of the weird
Yeah.
stuff.
I think there's
Yeah,
like
instead of
I see that Jones soda as the cane sugar one in the
That's what I think of.
from here to the West.
Mm.
okay.
But you guys are in
Mississippi.
Colorado. Did they also have Boylan's for their cane sugar
I saw
soda?
Boylan's in Colorado. I've also
Mm.
seen Boylan's here on the East Coast.
We
Yeah,
had
they make root beer and stuff.
Okay, they had root beer. Like
Oh,
did
look.
they have like a ginger ale? I'm trying to think because like
Yeah, they got like a ginger beer, they got a cream soda, they got a regular old
don't-
cola.
I'm gonna have to look this up. Boylan soda. I used to
Yeah.
drink a lot of soda. This is not. Doesn't ring zero bells. Absolutely none.
The important thing is it was old Boylan's. And you didn't see what I did there, but you could have. if look, this
If
isn't
I had
on me.
had
This
the
is on
soda.
this is on Boylan
It
Bottling
looks
Company
good,
for not
though.
spending enough on marketing.
That's true.
It looks good. I would taste it if I'm being honest.
Oh,
I
you've
would
looked it
taste
up
the
and
soda.
you've confirmed that it exists, because
It
sometimes I
does.
wonder.
Oh, if
But
I just
it's
make things
like-
up? Yeah, I mean, why?
'Cause you
What could
could.
stop me, really?
It started in 1891, so it's been around for a long time.
Oh, they probably used that good
Although
old
birch beer will
sarsaparilla.
always be a big part of the brand's heritage. Wait, did they do the birch beer? Because I've had birch beer.
Oh, they might. They
Was
might
it
do
their
birch
beer? So maybe I
Their
have
root beer
had
has
them.
actual roots in it.
Maybe I was being an asshole and I have had them. No, I have drank
don't
a
think it
lot of
makes you
cream
an
soda.
asshole.
So cream soda was like my main soda, and I would try
It's great
every
soda.
brand of cream soda. And they do have a cream soda, and I have not tried them. So maybe I just found something new.
There you go.
Maybe in my head I was bitchier than I was out loud. So that's why I was apologizing.
Look, yeah, you're always like probably the nicest
Awful.
person on the
No,
podcast.
that's not
so
true.
by a measure of 100.
No, I think that we're all pretty equally kind, but here's the thing. Or we're all equally bitchy, but here's the thing. Chelsea saves it all up so that she can do it in one really directed go.
That's fair. That's fair.
As I sort of amortize mine across
It just goes
everything.
everywhere.
And I just used terrible jokes to deflect mine slowly.
It works for us all. We're all making it work.
We got it.
Look, we're all finding our rat hole to live for. Number two, don't confuse Gangnam Style with this checked pattern cotton fabric.
Got it.
Yep.
And this is a meaty adjective meaning clumsy or bungling.
Gingham. So it's ham something.
Ham-fisted. Gingham fist.
Gingham fisted. You see what I
Nice.
did there.
She did it.
Great one.
Gingham fisted. Yeah.
High five
you did
to
it.
both of you.
Yeah. Triple high five.
High fives all around.
Honey bake those fives. All right. Number three. This martial art originated in and is the official government recognized martial art of South Korea. And this is an educational, air quotes, educational song on songwriting from The Sound of Music.
Taekwondo Rami.
You see what I did
Holy
there?
Shit, dude.
You see what I did there.
I did. I really
Taekwondo
liked
Rami.
that.
I might be getting better at this. Is what I'm gonna float that, and then I'm gonna read the next one, and it's gonna go over like shit. So
We
Yeah,
got this.
knock on wood.
But in this
We're feeling
moment, I
good.
need to bask in this one moment of success. That not only did it get answered quickly, but someone said they liked it, and I felt like you meant that.
Oh,
I
we've
did,
got to
I
give you
did.
more.
It just was very sing-songy.
Positive
It was like a
affirmations.
lot of, yeah.
No, I'm teasing. Okay, number four. South Korea's second largest city is a megaport with beautiful beaches, and you can take a zombie-less train there.
Okay.
And
Busan. No.
this is a style of type lacking ornamental pen stroke.
What?
Train to Busan Serif.
Oh!
Yeah. Busan Serif is
Fun.
what I was going for. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
sorry. I
yeah,
had to
okay.
say
See
the
what I
whole
did there?
title
I
of the
liked
movie.
that. That was good.
Busan Serif. You see what I did there.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more.
Thank you
One
for
more,
saying
number
there was a train
five.
because I would not have gotten
Yeah,
it. Otherwise,
I felt it felt very
zombies and
risky
trains.
because I was not confident about the
Right.
geography.
Yeah.
So I was like, this could be
Zombie train helpful.
That's
Yeah.
that's how
I
got
was
there.
Thank
as I
God.
was thinking, I was like looking up facts about Busan, and I was like, well, literally none of this matters.
These
because
bitches
no
aren't
one was
gonna get
be
it
like,
if I just
"Oh,
tell them."
No, well, because I wouldn't know either. Like, I learned that was the second largest city. I've seen that movie. That movie's great,
I haven't
but
seen it.
you know, oh, you gotta see it.
Yeah, I know.
It's great.
It's on the
Great
list.
movie.
It's on the long list.
No, yeah.
Oh, sure. It's a train law.
Never ending.
Never end.
All right, number 5, final one. For I see what you did there. The 42nd edition, whatever. I don't know what episode this is.
Oh dang. Yeah.
This popular television show ran more than 3 times longer than the Korean War in which it was set.
Oh.
And this is a film about a balloon salesman in mourning.
Mashup?
Mashup.
You see what I did there?
Yay!
Mashup. Very good. Very good.
Oh. Yeah, someone here is getting better at this. It's you
Yeah.
or it's us.
Yeah, either way, the vibes are great here.
We're
vibes are
just
great.
all together. We're working together.
I
We're
feel like
real.
I feel like Nate, you dumbed it down for us,
I
which
do
I
feel that way.
appreciate.
I think part of it is that I recognize often I will think like, oh, this is clever because I looked it up and it's interesting, but it's not actually anything that you can work from unless you've done the
Oh.
exact looking up that I just did.
Yeah.
And these I tried to make a little bit more like someone actually knows what up is and
That's true,
you actually
we
know what
do.
mash is.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of easy. That's like possible. It's not about easy, it's about possible.
I like this direction we're going in.
Yeah.
No longer just possible.
Just possible. Possible is something. We'll say that,
Yeah.
right?
That's
Isn't the
true.
old Nike thing was possible is nothing?
Oh.
Oh.
Wasn't that the thing? Like,
I don't know.
because they were saying like impossible isn't a thing. Possible is anyway. Whatever. We're not here to
Oh.
plug Nike.
It's philosophical for an ad campaign.
I know, right? Between just do it and possible is nothing, they're like just whatever.
There is
Just
no
do it.
try, only do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is
Mountain
no
Dew.
possible. Did that come out around the time of Star Wars? Was that like a thing? Did they?
I feel like the
Is that what
possible
they're
is nothing
trying
was a 90s thing, like a post Michael Jordan retirement attempt at a reboot because they're like, oh shoot, just do it was a Michael Jordan-y kind of connected slogan. And now we have to try a new thing. But yeah, you saw what I did there.
Yeah.
The time it is now that is possible for us to do is to talk about Debs.
How many Debs? How many Debs? How many Debs? How many Debs?
Debs. Oh.
And this is our first this is our first episode of Deb Provision following the January Day of the Debs, which we just celebrated yesterday on
Threw
the
a bunch of
Orthodox
gems
Day of the
everywhere.
Debs calendar.
Yep.
It's true. We did. So yeah, let's talk about this. Debs, what do we think? What do we think about K-pop? I mean, obviously, Julie gets a 5.
Oh, for sure.
No problem. I think K-pop in general gets a 5 from me. Like I have no negatives about any of this. It was super interesting. It makes me it's invigorating because I do want to experience some of this stuff that I wouldn't have otherwise. Like I really do
Same.
feel like a door has been opened.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Strong 5. It's a much wider landscape than I thought it was.
Oh, yeah. Same. Well, like I had already listened to some K-pop prior to this episode, as you guys have heard me leading up to this episode. And the research for this episode / just listening to a bunch of K-pop in my car has further solidified that I'm going to continue to enjoy it. And I'm looking forward to the recommendations that Julia has. So that's gonna be good.
Yeah, I kind of feel
And
like
listeners,
I'm going to be really.
if you have recommendations, write them in. debutbuddies@gmail.com or sorry to do this. You could leave it in a review for us. 5 stars.
You could do that. You don't have to apologize for it. You can do the plug stuff. You want to do the plug stuff?
Oh, we don't have to. I just
Wanted to make sure that it was there.
saw the opportunity, took the opportunity.
Hell yeah! No, you gotta pounce. I'm excited to check out some of the newest wave K-pop stuff that we were talking about near the end of the conversation there, because I really think like all of that genre melding weirdness and sort of like let's do it. I want the strangest possible shit, and let's just find something great. I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
That's great.
this was fun. This was super fun. Feel like I
Yeah.
learned a lot. Feel like
And
there's
I
so
feel
much
like,
more to learn.
and I know that
still.
we didn't talk about it a ton during the episode. We talked about it some, but the YouTube videos we watched, which will we link in this episode? I assume we will. Because
Yeah,
I learned a lot
I-
about Korean
I'll
history
put them in sources,
as
yeah.
well, and they were so interesting, and I really enjoyed watching them. And yeah,
Yeah.
great.
So
All right,
yeah,
great.
listeners, if you like this show, subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen. Please go to Apple Podcasts. Leave us those 5 stars. Talk to us about K-pop in the review. You can say whatever you want. You can say that you hate us, but you love K-pop. That's fine. 5 stars. You hate
just
us.
do 5 stars.
Great.
That's fine.
Just do that. No problem.
But please 5 stars.
Yeah.
That's your
5 stars.
that's your hate posting tax. You can tell us you hate us, but you have to give us 5 stars in exchange.
The only way that your hate will be real is if there are 5 stars attached to it. Otherwise, you're pretend hating us, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to be a faker. Yeah. If
God,
you like
we
the
didn't
music,
even get into that K-pop star who was an online troll criticizing a bunch of K-pop
What?
musicians,
No,
and
what?
and the people
Okay.
were like, "Stop shit talking. What do you even know about music?" And he fucking faked it till he made it. He started a K-pop band that is now successful.
that's absurd.
We didn't even get into that.
No,
Is that what we're
we
gonna
didn't.
do? Are we gonna start a K-pop band?
Did we already?
Ooh.
Is that what this is?
All right?
Are we a
Tune in at the end of this. We're
K-pop
gonna release our first single.
Yeah, get ready. You're gonna hear about 90 minutes of silence at the end of the episode, but then the single will be there. So just keep listening.
Just like that Nirvana album.
Yeah. If you like the music on this podcast, though, check out Michael J. O'Connor, michaeljoconnor.bandcamp.com. He's not doing K-pop, but he is popping.
Thanks.
And
Oh.
I believe that he's capable of
Chopping.
jopping.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he can chop.
I feel
seen
weird
him do a lot
saying
of
that.
things.
If I'm being honest with you, it feels uncomfortable. It feels like words I shouldn't say.
Yeah, no, it does vaguely sound like it's a slur that
I don't love it.
Yeah, don't do this. Don't do these words. Don't do this now. Yeah, and if you want to read some science fiction books, some of which may involve K-pop. I don't know. They might reference it. Someone could. I'm not saying anybody has, but they could. Read spaceboy.com.
And if you are interested in horror movies, sometimes you can find me and Chelsea over on Never Show the Monster. Currently a hiatus, but when this episode comes out, who knows?
Woo! I hope that you'll be back because
We
I
do
want to listen
too.
anymore.
We will be.
Great
We
time.
will be back.
We will be.
Date
Yeah,
indeterminate.
we will be back. Date. That's the best possible way to go. It's like, we'll be back. You're like Jesus that way. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be back. Not going to tell
Did
you.
he say that? I gotta
Date
go.
indeterminate.
First time Chelsea reads that part of the Bible.
On our next episode, we're going to be talking about the first Mamma Mia movie, as well
Yeah,
as
we
the
are.
first time that I have seen said Mamma Mia movie. And I mean, none of the 3 of us have any idea how this is going to go down. So this is like the most anticipatory plug for a future episode that we can come up with. And I'm not saying that with any foresight about anything. Like we didn't talk about it already last week for
No.
2 hours at all.
Nope.
How can
true.
I stand here?
I'm gonna take a chance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a chance. Take a chance.
Listeners, it's my favorite movie.
It's yeah.
Yay.
So
It was
buckle up,
fun.
get ready for that. It's gonna be so much fun. We will catch you next time on the flip side of a Greek Isle,
No.
possibly in a goat barn, living
Goat
deliciously.
Goat barns, rat holes.
And until then, yo-ha.
Yoha.
Yo, how buddy.
First is best, or first is worst.